We're all just swimming in noise, right? There's the traffic, the nonstop construction, that constant hum of city life, and honestly, we've gotten really good at just ignoring it. But here's a thought. What if all that noise isn't just an annoyance? What if it's a real, genuine health hazard, one that's hiding in plain sight? And that, right there, is the big question we're diving into. Because even though you've learned to tune out all that daily noise, a ton of new research shows that your body, well, it hasn't. It's still listening, and it's definitely reacting. So, what are we actually talking about here? Well, the official term is environmental noise pollution. And the two key words you really got to remember are unwanted and human activities. So, we're not talking about birds chirping or the sound of the ocean. Nope. This is all about the noise from roads, airports, industrial sites, all that stuff we're exposed to whether we like it or not. Okay, so when I say noise damage, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably hearing loss, right? And yeah, that's definitely part of the picture. But that's not the whole story. The really wild part, the thing that's been flying under the radar, is how this noise impacts your entire body. And this is absolutely the crucial point. See, you might not even consciously notice the drone of that freeway a mile away or the planes flying overhead. You've tuned it out. But on a physiological level, your body is picking it all up and perceiving it as a threat. It's like you're constantly on high alert, even when you're fast asleep. And the impact? It's just staggering. We're not talking about minor stuff here. This is linked to serious cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes, hypertension, constant chronic sleep problems. It can even impair how children learn. And get this, there's even a link to a condition they call broken heart syndrome, which is a kind of acute heart failure triggered by intense stress. And if you want to put a number on it, just look at this. The World Health Organization estimates that in the European Union alone, traffic noise is responsible for the loss of 1 million healthy life years every single year. Let that sink in. This is not a small problem. In the EU, it's the second biggest environmental health risk, right behind air pollution. So you're probably wondering, how? How on earth does the sound of a truck driving by actually translate into something as serious as a heart attack? Well, it all comes down to our body's ancient, hardwired stress response. So let's break this down. It's like a chain reaction. First, your brain hears that constant, relentless noise and flags it as a danger. That signal kicks your main stress system, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis for short, into high gear. And when that happens, your body gets flooded with stress hormones. Over time, that leads to chronic inflammation, which is a major, major driver of heart disease. And here's something that's really fascinating. It's not just about how loud the noise is, it's also about the pattern. So you have that constant hum from a freeway, which is a chronic stressor, for sure. But what researchers are finding is that intermittent noise, like a super loud train roaring by in the dead of night, can be especially dangerous. It's those sudden spikes of sound, those big fluctuations, that seem to be really strongly linked to heart disease and strokes. Okay, so if scientists have known this stuff for decades, you have to ask, why is this still such a huge problem? Why are we all still living in such a loud world? Well, the answer, unfortunately, lies in a history of policy that started off really strong and then just fizzled out. And really, this is the bottom line. In the US, there's no national plan to deal with noise pollution. Think about it. We have agencies for air pollution, for water pollution, but for noise, nothing. There's no federal agency whose job it is to model, monitor, and regulate it. It's just a massive, gaping hole in our public health policy. So how did we even get here? Well, it wasn't always like this. Way back in 1972, Congress actually passed the Noise Control Act, and it gave the EPA some real teeth. And through the 70s, things were looking up. They were making progress, setting standards for all sorts of things, from airplanes to lawnmowers. But then came 1982. The EPA's entire Office of Noise Abatement and Control was defunded, just gone. And that one single decision basically killed federal oversight and passed the buck down to state and local governments. That's why we have the messy patchwork system we have today. All right, so where do we go from here? Because let's be real, this problem isn't just going to magically disappear. In fact, all signs point to it getting even worse. Just look at the trend. The United Nations says that right now, more than half of everyone on the planet lives in a city. By 2050, that number is expected to jump to 70%. And you know what that means, right? More people packed into cities means more human-made noise. It's just going to keep getting louder unless we consciously decide to do something about it. I think this quote from Dr. Peter James, an expert over at UC Davis, really sums it all up. He says, "Without effective policy and funding for research, it's unlikely we will move the needle to decrease noise exposures in this country." And he's right. Without a real, serious commitment, we're talking policy, funding, and solid research, we're just not going to make a dent in this problem. We need to be able to systematically track noise, just like we track air quality, so we can finally understand its full impact and figure out what to do about it. So when you put it all together, it's pretty clear, right? The constant noise of our modern lives is way more than just annoying. It's a serious threat to our health. And we've seen that the very systems that were supposed to protect us have, well, they've fallen short. So as our world just keeps getting louder and louder, it leaves us with a really big question. Who's responsible for the quiet? Is it the government? Is it industry? Or maybe does it start with each of us just realizing that quiet isn't some kind of luxury, but something that is absolutely essential for a healthy life?